Testing. Test 1, 2. On the bottom, maybe? No.
Check 1, 2. There we go. That woke me up. Did that wake you all up too? Did you wake up from that? Still a little jet lagged. Ambassadors for Christ. I love that reading because I find that, what we do in worship, no matter where we worship, it's not about what's in the building. The mission of who we are is out in the streets. It's in our everyday life. We need to find God not just in here, not just in those people that are like us. We have to become awakened to the fact that God dwells in every creature. This man was sitting in front of an almond tree. He was crying out for God. God, show yourself to me. All of a sudden it started raining. He said, God, I need to know. I need to know your presence. I need to know that you are here. And the almond tree blossomed. Joyful, joyful, we adore thee. God, glory, Lord of love. Arms and full, thy flowers before thee, opening to the song of the bar. Built the clouds who sleep and in sadness, drive all doubt on the dark away. Giver of immortal gladness, fill us with the light of day. Sing along. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm here to tell you that Elvis is alive and he lives on every corner. And you Elvis fans that are out there. And through my journey of life, I started out playing rock and roll when I was a kid. And my mother's the church organist. She's still the church organist. She's 80 years old and still playing. And so, playing for church and those kind of things, wasn't an option for me. Playing piano wasn't an option. When I was taking piano lessons, I was a freshman in high school. I didn't want anybody to know that I was playing. I didn't want anybody to know that I had this gift because it wasn't cool. And I sat down in the gym before basketball practice and I started playing Yesterday, the old Beatles song. All of a sudden, all these girls came around the piano. I went home and practiced every day after that, for sure. And I thought to myself, as I grew in with music and started to see the bigger picture of who we are, I started to struggle because it was like, okay, I go to church and, the common theme was, okay, I don't get anything out of it. It's not for me. I'm not getting anything out of it. And all of a sudden, through life struggles, through the difficulties, and I'm married, I have 2 little kids, and just trying to figure out, who I am, all of a sudden, God reveals himself to me through Scripture, through Psalm, and most importantly, through one another, through the gifts of kindness, through the gifts of compassion to one another. If we want to know who God is, look around you. Look at the person next to you and see God, even the ones that get on your nerves. You want to know me. You want to see my face. I do not age with time. I do not fit into a space. I transcend the capacity of your mind. So who am I? Is the question for the moment. Is the question for all time. I am you, and you are mine. I am your father. I am your mother. I am the man who cannot cry. I am the stories in your eyes. I am the orphan of war. I am the leper begging on the corner. I am the black slave in chains. I am the Muslim bride who cannot show her face. I am the cross you carry again. I am the beginning and the end. I am the faith in your believing. I am the color of truth. I am the dreamer of your dreams. I am the falling in your love. I am the words of a prayer. I am the silence in the music. I am the music in the silence. I am all you have forgotten. I am all that you have not been. I am in you, all of this within you. Let the journey begin. Amen. I am in you. Oh, amen. I am the beginning and the end. I am the faith in your believing. I am the color of truth. I am the dreamer of your dreams. I am the falling in your love. I am the words of a prayer. I am the silence in the music. I am the music in the silence. I was really amazed that Pastor Bill's shirt matched all the coloring that was up there. Did you guys notice that? That was all color coordinated. I thought that was very kind of cool. I grew up in a little small town in West Virginia. That's on the east coast of the United States. And I'm one of 4 adopted children. I'm the 3rd out of 4 adopted children. And my mother and father are both first descendants. Their parents came from Italy. And so we grew up in this real kind of strict Italian upbringing. And I always felt that I didn't belong there. I always felt that there was something different. That I didn't look like my cousins who had all this real nice hair. Mine's kind of, what are you going to do? God made a few perfect heads, the rest of them he put hair on, right? And didn't feel like I fit in. And trying to nudge my way and figure out who I was, I always felt that I wanted to be this A note. I wanted to be an A note because to me, I thought the symphony of the world was in the key of F. And if you know music, A is the 3rd, and therefore the melody lies a lot in the 3rd. And I wanted to be this A note. I wanted to be the melody because that's what I saw. I saw that the world was in the key of F. I'm going to be this A note. My mother says to me after high school, you have a great gift, you should major in music. No, Mom, I'm going to major in business because I want to make money. That's what it's all about. It's all about money. I want to be this A note. And God said, son, I made you an F sharp. Well, I can't be an F sharp. An F sharp in the key of F sounds like this. It just doesn't fit. I want to be this A note. So I tried and spent 4 years miserably, finally graduating in a degree in marketing and worked in the business field trying to make money. And one of my employees one day, who was working for me, decided he was going to pull a gun on me because he didn't like how I was managing things. God said, son, I made you an F sharp. So after trial and even in my married life, I struggled in married life because, we have this picture of what romance is, and it's wonderful, and it's supposed to be nice, and all this crazy stuff, and failure after failure through occupations and professions, and coming to realize when you're face down on the bottom, okay, God, I'm an F sharp. There's no other answer, but I'm an F sharp. And when you're down and out, at the rock bottom of your life, God says to me, son, the symphony of your life isn't an F, it's a D. Oh, I never thought about changing keys. You see, just like those stained glass windows right there, if you took one of those panes out of the window, the colors, and you held it out by itself, it would just look like nothing. And when you look back at the picture of the stained glass window, the thing that you would notice the most is the hole, the piece that's missing. And just like the symphony of the world, God doesn't create the world in one key. He changes keys. And sometimes you're called to play, sometimes you're the melody, sometimes you're the ninth, to add beauty. And when it goes to a minor key, sometimes your note is played and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're called just to stop and listen and be silent and be ready for when a key change comes again. And just like the fishermen that were called, he didn't call the best ones. If you look who Jesus hung around with, he didn't always hang around with the best people. He didn't call the best fishermen. He called the ones that were broken. And he caught havoc for it in the process. And if we're called to be ambassadors for Christ and our mission is out in the streets, it's not with just those that we like or those that fit into our group. It's those that don't. It's about the lost and the lonely. That we are all called as ambassadors to come and follow me. We packed our nets to go out to the sea. It seemed like any other day. And then he came, and as I saw him, my soul began to burst like flame. He said to me, come and follow me. He said to me, come and follow me. And there you'll find peace of mind if you just come follow me. We are called to cast our nets into the sea. Traps that will set our people free. Come and follow me. it's not an easy call. It's the cross that we all have to kind of bear. First of all, figure out which note we are. And to be okay with that. To be okay with that, to realize that in the eyes of God, each is important. Doesn't matter what you do, no matter who you are, how much money you make, where you live, what kind of car you drive, that's not important. The importance is how you treat and how we love one another and seeing God in all of creation. Didn't God make all of creation? Amen? And all is beautiful in the eyes of God. It's what happens to us in the world that changes things. When we look in the mirror and we see one thing, but perhaps God sees something else. Or other people see something else than what we see. Like a lady that went to the dentist office. She hasn't been in her hometown in 25 years. She sees the sign on the door that says Dennis Jones. She says, I went to school with Dennis Jones. I wonder if it's the same Dennis Jones. So she sees the doctor. He's kind of old looking, losing his hair. He's kind of bent over, gray. She says, that can't be the same Dennis Jones I went to school with. The guy I went to school with, he was tall, he was good looking, a lot of nice dark hair. So she gets done with the doctor. She says, Doc, tell me, what high school did you go to? He said, Central. She said, what year did you graduate? He said, 1960. She said, you were in my class. He said, what'd you teach? When the mirror was turned on her, she saw something completely different. And in my struggles through life, it's been the same way. And the biggest hero in my life has been my father, my adopted father, a man who had to work 2 jobs to support these 4 children that he didn't necessarily have to adopt. And even though I struggled with this separation anxiety that adopted children sometimes suffer from, when I came to realize that who I belong to, that I am a child of Christ, baptized in Christ, as priest, prophet, and king, to do God's will, not my will. I looked to my Father who did that. And growing up, I was kind of upset with him because he wasn't there a lot to play ball and be there for all my games and that kind of stuff. When I got older and had children of my own, I remember calling him after Dominica was born. I was like, Dad, I'm so sorry. He said, what are you sorry about? I said, if you love me half as much as I love Dominica, I'm sorry for causing you all those pains and struggles when I was a teenager and growing up. My father died 3 years ago of stomach cancer. This is a big Italian man, he was 300 pounds. And when he died, he was 150 pounds. And I had the opportunity to sit on his deathbed with him before he died and told him how much I loved him. What an example he was to me. What a Corinthians 5:20 that he has been for me. When we hugged and before we said our goodbyes, I was like, Dad, send me a sign that you've made it. Send me a sign that you're there. I said, I know you're going straight to heaven because you've been married to Mom for 49 years. And we laughed. He said, I'll send you a sign if I can, son. When he passed away on our way back to Memphis from West Virginia, I remember I was looking for this lightning bolt. I wanted this eagle to fly out of the sky. I wanted this big 4th of July experience, these fireworks to say, hey, I made it. When we got back to our house in Memphis, our friends had brought food. There was food everywhere, living room, dining room, kitchen, big plates of food. And I went to the kitchen and grabbed a piece of Italian hard-pressed bread, which was his favorite and mine. And as I broke that bread, I noticed the feast before me out of the corners of my eyes. And I knew that was the sign. In that breaking of the bread, he was present to me. How does God work? Through the Word, through one another. Makes himself present to us in the everyday when we come to worship in response. That somewhere along the way, we get it. We got it. Because when we see God face to face, the question is not going to be who we think we are or what we have. But who did you love? And how did you make a difference? That's what we're called to be as ambassadors for Christ. As that piece of that stained glass window, we are called to love one another. only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? I'll be able to speak. Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah, yeah. Only imagine. So I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Not be able to speak it all, I can only imagine. Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine. When all I would do is forever worship you. I can only imagine. Yeah, yeah. I can only imagine.